Happy Thursday, everyone. I am so glad you are here. Oh my goodness. I know we'll have some people continuing to join us. So we are here to talk about Zoom lessons and ways that you can get a little bit more interactive with your students. Sherry Johnston and I are, we just have a really good time. So I'm glad you're here. I would love to steal ideas from you as well. So please feel free to drop them in chat, or if you are not feeling shy today and you want to open up your mic. Yes, I learned some fantastic things yesterday when Sherry and I had a session. So you are all amazing teachers and I could always learn more. So thank you for being here for me. I have a question for you as we are getting started, and I wanted to show you the image first before I ask the question. So we're going to do a quick Zoom poll. On a scale of squirrel, how do you think you might be feeling right now? So I'll give you a moment to take a look at the picture that we have here, and then I'll open up a Zoom poll for you. So on a scale of squirrel, how might you be feeling? All right, that poll is available for you to respond to. Now, for my students on Chromebooks and on cell phones, the reason why I let you see the picture first is when that poll pops up, it covers up the picture. So I try not to run the poll and the picture at the same time. Give them a good 30 seconds to look at an image when I'm doing a temperature check or just a social emotional check. And I will show you where to find these as well.
I can't vote.
Oh, I know, as a host. Well, yeah, Sherry, how are you feeling? What number?
Okay, right now I'm a 4, but every morning I'm a 5.
Right. So I'm going to share the results with you so you can see how we did. It looks like mostly as a group, we're roughly 5. There's a couple of 8s and a couple of 4s. So, wow. Yes, of course we are tired. We are June teacher tired right now. And if you have not had a chance to launch a poll, to set up a poll, we will be doing that today. So that is my little tease for you about something that we have coming up. All right. Has anyone done a little temperature check or a social emotional check with your students already so I can steal ideas from you? Okay.
I just did one as a warm-up question. I do a warm-up every day in Google Classroom. Oh, and it's just posting the question and just ask them, like, how are you feeling today? And, you know, just kind of letting them answer that however they want to.
Right. It is a free right response. And some days it's no. That's okay. I have those days too. Thank you, Lori.
I copied this from another teacher, but we did like your destination where you'd rather be. So we did like 4 pictures, ocean, mountain, camping or something. And the kids would drag their dots to where they wanted to go. And it was kind of fun that way.
Oh, that's so fun. So we're using Pear Deck for that?
Yeah, I think I was. I forget because I just copied it from a teacher friend. She's like, try this. I'm like, okay. And so they got their dots. I think I used the picture, and then I did from annotations. I let everyone able to annotate, and then they just inserted a shape onto their dot, onto the square they wanted.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's what I did.
So if we end up doing a Zoom advanced feature, we're going to talk about annotation. But that is definitely something that is available to you when you are hosting a session under security. If you have that option turned on in settings, and we'll go over some Zoom settings here in a second, annotating on the screen is one of your options. Thank you, Nina. Okay, so now that we kind of know where we're at, I'll be your cheerleader for this session, and we are going to talk about Zoom setup. Something that the district has enabled for us very recently is student authorization. And so I wanted to devote some time to show you how to have your students be signed in through their CUSD accounts. And they are not using a personal Zoom account. They have to be signed in through school. So in the slide deck, I've given you the link to all things Zoom. which is available. Sherry put this together with all the instructional technology coaching team. So any questions that you have about Zoom, we've probably made a video or a PDF for you to take a look at. I'm going to walk you through the process. I highly encourage you, if you want to do this on your own, I will be talking about my clicks. So you don't necessarily have to look at Zoom if you want to look at your own settings. And so how do we get Zoom set up so students have to sign in to join our meetings? And so where I'm going to go right now is into Zoom. And once I've signed in to cusd.zoom.us, find that settings button on the left-hand side. Now, I'm not a fan of scrolling and hoping that my eyes catch the word authorization. I'm not so great at that. So the trick I like to use is a keyboard shortcut. If you haven't seen this before, is Control F for find, or if you're using a MacBook, it's Command F. So I'm going to do Control F, and I'm going to look for the word authorization. So it's not happy with me right now. That's okay. Control F, and we are going to try. There we go. Authorization. And if I keep going, it's really, authentication. Let's go back to auth. What this does is it highlights all instances of that word on the page. And this is great for any web page. I love teaching this to students so they can look for a specific concept on a web page. So here we are. I've done a search for auth. There are 8 instances, and I can use the up-down arrows to search through the web page to find those 4 letters. Let's take a look here. So I have only authenticated users can join meetings. That is turned on to blue. Here's the trick. There are meeting authentication options right here, just below yes, authenticated users can join meetings. We need to turn off this basic domain authentication. So the buttons are opposite. If I click hide, it means to hide it. So because it says show, it means that I've hidden it, and it's kind of light gray. It's very subtle. What we want on is SSO and @cusdstudent.com. So those are the only 2 options that you want to use in order to have your students sign in to their class with their CUSD accounts. I've also added only authenticated users can join web meetings from the web client. So from our students that don't have the app installed, I also turned this one to blue. So that's step number 1, is giving yourself the ability to force people to sign in. Now, what's the next step? We need to create a meeting and check the box that says, yes, give me authenticated users. So I'm going to scroll up into my online, I'm still online in Zoom, I'm not in the app. And I'm going to start or schedule a meeting so you can see what these buttons look like. So you'll typically give it a title, you'll scroll down, you'll pick your days and your times. And as you scroll down under host or meeting options, there's a box that says only authenticated users can join. Here's where you can choose from SSO or @cusdstudent.com. We use SSO, both are fine, but recommend that you stick with the SSO wow, my brain just went totally blank. With the SSO format. What that stands for, if you haven't seen that before, is single sign-on, which means they're using their school Google accounts. Okay, so under meeting options, again, all the way down at the bottom, you're looking for only authenticated users can join. The other things that I typically like to turn on are mute participants upon entry, because a lot of my students love their music too. So we get some clashing music. And then we'll talk about this other button here in a second. Okay, so what does that look like as a teacher? It is fabulous. I will tell you that I talked to students for a week before turning this feature on. I did not surprise them with it. So I put a post in Google Classroom with documentation on how to sign in. And all of that was found at the CNI website that we've referenced there in the chat. All of these PDFs and these videos you can find on our website. I also left an announcement in Clever as a reminder. Yes, thank you, Sherry. So I walked them through the steps to get signed in. I devoted I don't know, maybe about 10 minutes on Thursday. And then I said, remember on Monday, you have to sign in. And 28 out of 30 students were successful on Monday. One was ill, and the other one said, it's just not working for me. So I was able to meet with the student and find out that, oh, it was a Chromebook and you forgot to sign in first. So I had a lot of success. When I pull the reports, the attendance reports in Zoom, uniform. Everybody's email address is identical. And it knows exactly who there are. Their names are populated exactly as we see them in queue. So I really enjoy using this authentication process. Yes.
Question. So we should not do this right now on our meetings until we tell our kids all this information.
Yes, definitely go over with them what's happening, because for some of our students, that perseverance to keep trying and to send you a message to say, I can't get in. We might have some loves that shrug their shoulders and go, I don't know what happened. So yes, I talked to them on Monday, I talked to them on Tuesday, and I talked to them on Thursday. So I gave them a good week of reminders that this is what we're doing. If you would like to practice signing in, and so they're not actually creating Zoom accounts when they sign in with SSO. They're just saying, yes, I am a student at CUSD, at cusdstudent.com. That's who I am. So I know that, yes, there was some concern about students creating accounts. They are not creating accounts with this process. Many of our students have on their own, but that is not something that Clovis Unified has recommended in any way, shape, or form. I'm with you. So no. And we have a privacy policy in place. Thank you, Sherry. So it's been great. My students really, there's that uniformity. They know the process. They know they need to go in through Clever. And so if you want any support, please let me know. You can send me an email. Your local friendly neighborhood tech coach will be able to support you with that process as well. But everything that you want to give to students is on that webpage, which is in the notes section of the Google slide deck.
So, if they go through Clever, because my kids only go through Clever, will it be any different when I click that? Okay.
Other than they need to click the SSO button to say, yep, that's me.
Okay.
So one extra click on the Chromebook, it might be 2 extra clicks, just because we ask them to go to the SSO process first and then go to Clever. Yeah.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
Sorry. Okay, so I'm a counselor, so I don't have a classroom all the time, but we're seeing students, and we also are meeting with college reps and parents, and so is the only authenticated users can join meetings limiting that?
As long as you don't check the box in those meetings, they don't have to authenticate. So if I come back here to my meeting, sorry, the pop-up, if I don't check this box, it's open to anyone. So you'll want to have that enable the waiting room, the same procedures and policies that we put in place. This is just that extra layer if your users can sign in with the Clovis Unified account. Yeah, but since you have parents, I wouldn't recommend checking that box for some of your meetings. Mm-hmm.
Okay, what about the toggle button back in the settings? Don't.
You can leave that on. This is the meeting options box is what controls your ability to use it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So by turning it on under settings, you have that option. If that box is gray or that slider is gray, then this box won't be available for you.
Okay.
Great question.
Thank you.
And there was a question too about the link in Clever. I mean, some teachers have their students sign into Zoom and then go to the Zoom link that the teacher posts in Clever and it signs them in. Some teachers just post their link in Clever with authentication turned on. Then it prompts them to sign in before they get into your classroom. I mean, so there's 2 different ways to get there. So if one way doesn't work, try the other. So if they click the link and they haven't signed in before, then tell them, hey, go into your Zoom application, sign in, then come back and click my link to get into my class. It doesn't always work 100% because all these devices out there that kids are on are all different. So it can sometimes just be device specific.
Yes, with students that had MacBooks, we spent a little bit more time making sure that they could get in. as opposed to my students that had the Windows laptops that were issued by school. So just if you know that you happen to have a room full of students with MacBooks, definitely spend some time with them. Tell them that they have to install the app. That's just the MacBook was just happier if they had the app installed. And no, they don't have to have an account, but the MacBook really didn't want to run the web version only. And so my students were really great with troubleshooting and communication by email. So that Monday, that first class on Monday, I had, like I said, 28 students by 10 minutes in. So it was great. But definitely reach out by email to your local tech coach if you want some support with this. So the reason why I am encouraging you to try out Authorization is so you can get pre-assigned breakout rooms. Right? Yay! So this has been the best gift that Zoom has given me, because students definitely want to work with specific students, or I have given them project groups, and from class to class, I will be honest, I can never remember who's in what project group. I have to keep, paper on my side, like, okay, who did I put in group number 1? So the pre-assigned breakout rooms have saved me so much time. So I want to go through Zoom so you can see where to find those pre-assigned breakout rooms. So I am back in my meetings, and when I have turned on all of those slider buttons, there's a box that says breakout room pre-assign. So I can check that box under meeting options, and then it says plus create rooms. So I can come in, and there's a tiny little plus button next to the word rooms. I know that I have, say, 10 groups. I can click that plus button, and I am manually adding their email addresses. No, anyone? Right, that was me too. I'm excited about breakout rooms. No, I do not want to manually add their email addresses. So what I recommend is this import from CSV. This will give you a link to a template. So it's a tiny little link down here, import from CSV. The trick that I want to tell you, or to give you a heads up about, is the student email addresses are the same ones they use for Adobe Spark. So if you've used Adobe Spark with your students before, their email addresses have a different domain. So my student would be, let's go with Janice Smith 001 at my.cusd.com. So that domain part is different than their usual email address. So this is their Adobe Spark, and this is what they use for Zoom. Now, when they sign in with SSO, it looks like Google. I'm saying for breakout rooms specifically, at my.cusd.com.
So that's only for kids who have used, they're all.
No, this is for you. Yeah, this is for you to make breakout room assignments. You'll have to know that it's not the at cusdstudent.com. It's my.cusd.com. That is the one trick about doing pre-assigned breakout rooms. And we have all these step-by-steps in the CIA website that we have the link for in the slide deck. So step-by-step instructions that let you know, oh, I need to do this, and I have to use that domain. But that was my first struggle, was I put in their regular email addresses, and Zoom went, I don't know what you're talking about.
Now, Delaney, why would I want to do this over breakout room when I'm in my class and I could manually add them that day and just assign? What's the benefit of doing this?
I have 2 buttons to put them all into rooms, then I don't have to remember who's in what room. So
Oh, God. And so does this information get saved somewhere?
yes.
Okay.
So I can show you what that looks like from my regular class meeting. So let me open up my class here, and I'm going to scroll down. Sorry to make everyone a little seasick. I have 10 breakout rooms.
Oh, got it. Okay.
And so these are ready for me at any time. All I have to do is say, let's open up breakout rooms, and it'll ask me for pre-assigned rooms. Do you want to use your pre-assigned rooms? Yes, I do.
Okay. And then that is always in there in your notes, right? In your meeting. Okay, that would make sense. Okay.
Exactly. It is ready to go in every meeting. It has been
Okay.
phenomenal for me. So we're starting a new unit on Monday, and I'll be making new pre-assigned breakout rooms. So
Got
for the next 3 weeks, they'll be working with the same cohesive group, and they're getting to know each other, and I'm forcing them to make new friends.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you.
Sure. So I know this wasn't terribly hands-on, but it has changed how I can interact with students, and it has saved me so much time. It was well worth the setup and my learning curve in order to say, click breakout room, click pre-assigned rooms. All right, kids, work in your groups. It's been phenomenal because I've done the manual move, and it's just me going, I'm sorry, give me a second. I'm working on it. I know who you want to work with. Okay, so let's do an interactive activity. And I love keep asking questions. Yes, yes. We are going to be doing a quick check-in because you have been sitting for almost 20 minutes. I would love for you to caption this meme. So we have these fantastic giraffes, and I want to know what you think they're saying. So what you can do is go into the Google form, and I'm going to paste the link here into this Google form if you don't have access to the slide deck at the moment. Let me make sure I add that HTTP. And you'll open up the Google slide deck and fill out some quick information. And so this doesn't have to be spot on. You don't need to be hilarious, but if you could do me a favor and fill out the form with just some information, so as a group we can see what this would look like with a class. I want to know what this conversation is. I'm going to open up the Google form really quick so you can see what this is like. So if you're a student, you're telling me your name, you're writing your caption, and you're clicking submit. And most of my students can do this in about 60 seconds because they know exactly what they want to say. And then for me, I get to look at the responses. Oh, thank you, you all are amazing. Yes, I feel like I'm going sideways. Get me out of class. When she says she's not hungry and eats all of your food. I love these responses. So this is as entertaining for me as the teacher as I think it is for the students. I love spending my class periods laughing with the students. So now I have a Zoom poll for you. And ideally, I would probably select the top 4 or 5 results. And so I made this very generic for us, not knowing what you would tell me. So which caption do you like best? And you can pick 1, 2, 3, or 4. I love all of these captions, and I would have made 12 or 13 results for you. But in that Zoom poll, how you doing? Yes. Feel free to pick caption 1, 2, 3, or 4. But this is what we could do to get student buy-in. They are developing the caption for the meme, and then they're voting on their favorites, right? So I love getting them to justify, tell me why you wrote that, tell me why you selected that particular response, did it resonate with you? And so we get an opportunity to really get to know our students and find out what they're thinking. These are fantastic. All right, so I'm going to end the polling, and we pretty much have a generalized tie. So I'm going to share the results here with you. And so, as a class, we would have to reanalyze caption 1 and caption 4 together. So that's just
a quick question.
Of course.
This is Haley. I think I know the answer, but all of these polls that you did, these have to be already written and put into your meeting settings before you start a meeting, right? You can't just say, hey, I want to do a poll right now. I want to make
So
one right now.
we are going to walk through what happens if we try to make a poll right now. I love that you asked me that question.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to use them, but I'm not exactly sure how to. So yeah, then I'll look forward to that. Thank you.
Yes, I love it. I know, because there's so many times I want to do something on the fly. And earlier in the year, Zoom was like, no, you've got to pre-make these polls. And so I was trying to make these generic polls that were just like, how do you feel? Yes or no? And that wasn't helpful for me. So let's find out how to make a Zoom poll on the fly. What we are going to do is, let me see if I can. I asked it to show all of my buttons, but I'm going to have to put all of us on screen so you can actually see what I'm seeing. Down here, I'm going to click on polls, and there's an option to edit. So I'm going to click on edit, and it's actually going to take me to online Zoom and say add a poll. So let's see, what did you think about the captions? I can type today, I promise.
Now, I've done this in class many times, and they don't see this, right? If I
No, they
you
see
just
none of this. I just
okay.
asked Zoom to show you what I was doing. Otherwise, it gets really awkward.
Yeah. Okay.
Here's a little thing while Delaine's putting that poll together. Because you are now authenticating users into your meeting, you will actually get poll results.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we can
Before,
actually
the poll
get
was
them.
very generic. Yeah.
Ah, okay,
You
that's
force
cool.
the sign in, and it can identify the person.
Yes.
You actually get poll results.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
And I am pulling them every day. So I'm
Yeah.
pulling my polls every day. It's actually how I do check-ins to make sure that they are staying online with me. I ask 3 questions every day. It's the early check-in when we get into class. Midway through class, I ask a silly question. And at the end of class, I ask a silly question. Sometimes it is checking for understanding. But it's like, hey, you've got to respond to these polls. I am checking for your participation. If I don't get a response, we've got to have a chat. So I have poll number 3 here. What did you think about the captions? So let's find out. When I click on polls again, and I hit my little drop-down menu, I now have poll number 3. So I can launch it. So kind of amazing that I can live create a poll and no, your students won't watch the hot mess that you just watched me do.
I was having technical issues and I couldn't see your screen at the very beginning. Can you just say it one more time? During our meeting, you went into the settings for this meeting and added the poll, and then
I went straight to polls. So let me see if I can drag that window back over.
Sorry, I was having issues with my,
my
computer than normal.
So down here at the bottom, I clicked on polls.
Okay.
And then there's a little tiny edit button.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so that's how we can create them on the fly. It'll open up a web page, and then you go through that process to add a poll.
Thank you.
Sure. Yes. Today's question was, would you rather defend yourself against 1 horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses? There were some really good justifications in the chat about why they selected their answers. It's a solid 3 minutes of debate about a horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses. So the poll process, if you haven't created a poll before, again, this is directly in the meeting. So I'll start from the beginning. I'm on the online Zoom, and when I want to create a poll, I find the name of the meeting and I click on the title. I'll need to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the meeting, and there's an add button. Once I click on add, it needs a title, and that helps you in Zoom figure out what you're going to ask. So would you rather is one of my favorite set of questions. You'll type in your question. Would you rather be really hot or really cold? This was also a huge debate in class. You'll type in your answers. Single choice versus multiple choice. Single choice means they can only pick one response. Multiple choice means I like vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry. Thank you very much. So I mostly do single choice options, not the multi-select. You can have more than one question in your poll. I try to keep mine to one response. Click on save, and that's just a personal preference. And there it is. My poll is available immediately inside of our Zoom meeting.
And where do you see like the results? Like I know we see it online, but now with the SSO, I can go back and see who participated, right?
Yes, it's amazing. So under reports, like I said, I love this change. I've been using it since September 21st, and
Oh, wow.
I wish I had done it sooner. So I'm back online at Zoom, and I go into reports, and there is a usage report.
Right.
That's where we pull attendance.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, I'm going to go to meetings, and when meeting opens up, I'm specifically looking for the poll report.
So cool. Okay.
And then I can click on generate. So this was today's class. And I'm going to say all registrants. It's going to give me a CSV file that I'll need to open up as soon as that is ready. So here's my registration report. Here's my poll report. I'm going to click on download. Takes me about 4 seconds to get that CSV file. And here are everyone's responses. So the
That's
question
cool. So if they didn't respond, they obviously didn't participate. You don't see their name on this sheet.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I end up, so I'm a little extra, and I will admit this. I write formulas. So if I ask 3 questions, I'm asking the formula to look for that email address. How many times did that email address show up? And then I'm comparing what student didn't answer what question.
Got it.
And then we go from there. So I had 3 kiddos today that skipped the first question. Well, guess what? They were tardy. So they didn't see the first question.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is cereal a soup? Also a hot debate. The justification was whether milk was broth.
That's so funny.
So yes, I am pulling attendance reports and then the poll reports. And so, and I feel like I get a really good sense of, their sense of humor, and just kind of how they're feeling every day and what's going on with them. So thank you for making a caption for these giraffes and going through that process of creating a poll. The one thing. Oh, yes, please.
So I really like your idea of kind of doing these polls, like maybe in the middle of class or the end of class. But I teach English, so a lot of times, like, we'll be going over something and then they'll kind of be doing it on their own. If they're, say, on another tab or like in Google, on a Google Doc or something, typing, will they see a pop-up with the poll? So like if I, obviously let them know in advance, we're going to start doing this, you have, 3 minutes to answer. Will they see a notification that I've given them the poll, even if they're not on their Zoom screen?
So what happens for me is I tell them, okay, we're going to be doing a poll. I need you to return back to the Zoom screen, because they don't, they don't really get that notification if they are on a different tab. So that is a great question. I had a friend say they couldn't see my screen share, so I stopped sharing really quick. Thumbs up if you can see my screen. We should be seeing some giraffes. Okay. Thank you. Emoji reactions. Yay. I love it. I have one student that gives me a heart every day at the end of class, and it just, oh, thank you, sweetheart, for that heart. Oh, it's so kind. The last thing on this slide that I want to gift you with is a folder of curated check-ins and conversation starters. Yes, this is an amazing folder. So Sherry found this folder, and so props to Sherry. Let me pull that folder up. It's called Virtual Teaching. So if you have the Google slide deck, you can get that link to this folder. If not, we'll pop it into the chat. But it has things like check-in forms and caption these photos and this or that would you rather questions. There's so much enjoyment in here. One of my favorite new check-ins is on a scale of Grohl. So it's Dave Grohl's face. We used on a scale of goat today. So you saw a scale of squirrel. So it's just been fantastic. So here's that on a scale of. And if you want to see any of these photos, I'm going to go into the preview. And so this is on a scale of Joske. There we go. I had to ask my daughter how to pronounce his name correctly. On a scale of Shaggy. So lots of delightful surprises in this folder. So yes, please grab that folder. If you would like to pin it to your Google Drive, if you'd like to keep it so you don't have to keep looking for that link. When you have the folder open, there's a drop-down arrow next to the words virtual teaching. Just add your shortcut to Drive. And then you can place that shortcut in any folder you like. So that way you don't have to go looking for it or looking for this slide deck over and over and over again to get to the goodies that are in this.
Sorry, did you share this with us, you said, or it's a link?
Yes. It's a link. I'm at meeting check-in. So I can grab the link in case you
right there. Okay.
Yeah. And it's sneakily on the box as well, that click to open box. But here, I'll drop that in the chat just in case. But yes, you can also find the link here on the box. It has been delightful for me, and the gift that keeps giving. Thank you, Jen Giffen.
Yeah, right. She keeps having good stuff. So there's a couple questions, if you don't mind me just pausing you real quick.
Of course.
So they're asking about copying polls from one meeting to another. There's not a way to directly copy, but I'll let Delane give you more information about that.
Well, I actually haven't needed to copy a poll from one class to another. So does somebody else have a shortcut for that? Because I would literally be copy pasting.
There is, if you create, so one of the tips I had seen somewhere is you make a meeting, you add as many poll questions as you can possibly think of that you might use. Yeah, they have to be a little bit generic. And then if you use that meeting as a template and you copy that meeting over, those polls will stick.
Fantastic.
So yes, there's a way to copy, and kind of no, there's not a way to copy. I've never tried to go in and edit polls that you've already created in that meeting, and I don't know if you edit that poll, if it'll then copy over with all your new answers. So I haven't dug that deep into the whole polling thing. And then yeah, so and somebody else asked if you've created your polls with your meeting, yeah, you just go into polls and just select the one that you want. So if there are some teachers that have seriously 15 polls that are just at the ready, and then what they do is they make that a template, they just keep using it, and they just go through the list and just check the one that they want to use right then.
I would show you, but I just cleaned mine up because I was like, oh, I can't show you my class. There are 15 polls. I think actually I had 12. And so they're topics. I have a this or that, and I change the question on the inside. So if I'm going to run a this or that question today, quick, I'll change that. I have a would you rather topic. I have a checking in topic, temperature check topic. So yeah, and I just deleted a whole bunch because I thought I can't show you my internal mess during this training. So yeah, I keep some really, I don't want to call them generic, but really standard, good pedagogy questions at the ready all the time. So a solid, how are you feeling about this lesson? I got it, I need help, I'm totally lost. That goes for every subject in every moment. Yeah, so I would definitely be building out questions that I could use at any given time. I love it. So there are some step-by-step instructions here inside of the slide deck. There are also instructions on that CINA page. So we've got you covered. We have about 20 minutes left together, and there was an activity, one more interactive thing that we can do together that I wanted to go over with you. So are you ready? Let's do some emoji reactions. Yay! I know, I wish our students had access to a wide range of like 10 emojis so they could tell me how they're feeling and what they're doing. There is a choice board activity for you. This is science-based, but don't hold me to it, about chemical reactions. I just wanted you to get a feel of what using a choice board with our students could look like. You can either go into the template preview version and make a copy, or you can look at the view version if you like. Everything should be clickable in the view version, but if you wanted your own, I wanted to give you that option. And so this is an opportunity for students to kind of demonstrate some agency. And this particular lesson, and this would be great for any subject and any topic, allows them to find a resource that resonates with them and learn from that resource, and they have choice. So every single one of these resources has to do with chemical reactions. Some of the videos are geared towards 3rd to 5th grade. So sometimes we need a little support and we have to start from the beginning. If you have not experienced chemistry before, all right, well, let's look at some easier scaffolding, right? Some of these are just really fun to watch. You know, is this toothpaste? What's happening here? So the goal for this choice board is to complete 5 of these activities under watch, read, or interact this week. And then next week, we're going to look at our must-dos, which is research and then creating something at the end of this particular unit. So I want to give you a moment to kind of click through the choice board to see what that looks like using YouTube videos or videos that you find on Vimeo. Hint, they have to be released. And so there is a specific process in order to release a video to students. Edpuzzle is an option for some of our high schools. They have purchased the a subscription. So I know like at Clovis East, we have access to Edpuzzle. But I want to go over GimKit. So I'll give you a few minutes to take a look at this choice board, see how you feel about it. And then we'll talk about GimKit. Feel free to ask questions as well. So let's put a link for Okay, so the goal for your students would be to have accountability with this choice board. So there is a Google form, and in that Google form, after a student does a watch, a read, or an interact, they need to tell you about it. They need to indicate if they did a watch, read, or interact, and at least one new thing that they've learned. If you wanted to up the intensity or the rigor, you could definitely say, tell me 3 things you learned by watching that video, playing that game, reading that article. But I just said, tell me one new thing. Some students really love chemistry. If we're talking about computer science, I have students in my class that can probably code better than me, and I love it. So one new thing for them based on an early introduction, they could be saying, well, I already knew this. Thanks, Mrs. Johnson. So that's why I said, just tell me about one new thing. But you know your students well and their exposure to particular topics. So let's play a GimKit game so you can see what GimKit's like. You may have experienced Kahoot or Quizzes or Quizlet Live. There we go. I was looking for the name of it. Quizlet Live is a lot of fun. GimKit is kind of the new kid on the block. And so I gave you a game as homework in the choice board, which means you are not playing live. You are going through the assignment at your pace, and your goal is to earn $10,000. So GimKit has a bit of a financial incentive. It is not a time-based game. Yes, you can include time, but I find that it's more about mastery than it is about the fastest reader. And so that's why I have fallen in love with GimKit, because I have seen no free, sorry, somebody posted a message, not even having 3 kits available. So we had a post that said that GimKit isn't free anymore, and I thought you could have 3 kits. Oh, that is disappointing for me. and only 5 players per game. Wow, I was fortunate enough that a site purchased a license for me. So we'll definitely take a look at that. Thank you, Rosario. New kid on the block has made some adjustments. Well, let me go ahead and play a quick game with you so you can see what it's like and if it's something that you possibly want to look into. So let me walk you through this setup as a teacher. We're going to play a game about candy right now. And oh, I want to play The Floor is Lava. Here we go. Okay, and we don't have any money. You get to check your answers. I'm going to leave the music out for now. So I like all of my options here. You have power-ups and themes, and your goal is to get enough correct answers so you can earn money. Where you'll need to go is gimkit.com/play. And again, this is a live game versus the homework that you see in the choice board. And of course, I forgot my HTTPs again. Let's make that a clickable link for you. So you'll go to gimkit.com/play and your code is 60304. Oh, thank you for joining it. As a teacher, I want to show you that if there is a student, thanks, Mr. Coons. If there is a student that gave you a name that you're going, who is this? You can easily kick them out of the game and have them sign back in with a name that you recognize. I also know teachers that prefer nicknames so students don't feel embarrassed, and there's a little bit more safety in playing that game and being able to make mistakes, right? We celebrate mistakes in class. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start the game. You can join late. I put the code in the dropdown. And so clearly the lava is rising. You're going to play as a team to keep building. When you earn enough money, you can buy power-ups. So I'll be playing The Floor is Lava with the kids on Monday. You have a question in front of you, and you'll start answering those questions. It looks like as a teacher, I can be cruel and put a little pressure on you, but I won't do that. Okay. The game is currently not showing me any of your progress. I'm wondering if they made a little bit of a change where the floor is lava. How is it on your end? Are you seeing questions? Okay, so from the teacher perspective, normally I can see money and I can see how many questions they've answered. There we go. Thank you, Rosario. So we do vocabulary review, and I have them compete in teams. Usually I try not to make it an individualized game. That way there's not as much pressure. And when I end the Gimkit game, I am looking at mastery. There is a report that shows me how many times the question was answered correctly or answered incorrectly. And so any question that gets less than an 80%, I'm coming back and I'm definitely reviewing with them.
Elaine, are we supposed to be, like, I can see a question that says, what candy is this? But I don't have any picture. Am I supposed to be seeing something?
Yes, there should definitely be a picture without any words on it. Are you full screen by chance?
That only happens once. I think it was just like an error uploading a picture, but all the other candies show up.
So I guess randomly answer and hopefully it's right. And so you can go to the next question. I'll have to look at the game.
Nope, it was wrong.
There's actually
kind of
another
1 in 4 chance.
I just lost $1.
I'm sorry, Haley.
Oh, I was just saying further along, there's another one where you can't see the picture either. So there's actually two of them.
Oh no, teacher error. It happens. So in the homework version, we would not be playing a team-based game. It would be more individualized. And you have the option to let them see how their classmates did. I turn that feature off. I just want them to focus on themselves and answering those questions at a pace and at a rate that makes sense for them. But that's the homework version. Oh, something's happening. Oh, I think the floor became lava. Very nice. So we survived 3 minutes. I would use this to say, okay, class, can we get to 4? So lots of fun with GimKit. Here's where I come in and I review the report looking for that mastery. Thank you for participating with me. Like I said, it's entertaining for me from a teacher perspective. And the kids really seem to react when I get to use that. So Rosario, I definitely want to look into it not being free anymore. Thank you for that. Are there any other questions? We have a couple more minutes together, and I wanted to honor some time to go, hey, how can I do this thing, or what's that?
Is there anything on here you think you might like a training on? Something that we have not covered before, something that you don't know about that you'd like to learn about?
I'd like to know, I have kids who, like, we're doing notes in class and I'll copy and paste like a big chunk of notes in the chat, and then most of my kids can copy and paste that, but then some can't. Is there a reason they aren't able to copy and paste from chat? Is it just their device?
It
And
could possibly be the device.
Okay.
Chromebooks, like the link is not live on a Chromebook app.
But they can't even like copy and paste like words from the chat?
Yeah.
Okay. And then how do I, if I want to keep my chat, like I want to see the chat box from that day of class, is there any way to go back and see it?
You have to have that setting turned on to
yeah.
save it.
Okay.
So in my
Where is
settings,
that? Uh-huh.
and then I can't ever go fishing, so I'm gonna type in chat. And so it looks like it's under in meeting basic.
Okay.
And so allow them to see visible messages, prevent them from saving chat. And then we have to go to recording settings. So now that that's turned on, I'm going to come up here to recording. And in my recording settings, scroll down and I have saved chat messages from the meeting and webinar.
Okay. And then where do you find those after? Would you have to go back to how you do attendance?
It's actually under recording. So it's one of those 5 menu items. Yes. And then under cloud recordings, you can see that I have 5 files. One of those files is just the chat alone.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah. Particularly if you need to go back and take a look at a conversation 2 students might have been having publicly while you were teaching.
Well, I have it on private always so they can just chat me. I don't have everyone on, but am I still able to see that if I saved it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So yeah, I have private and then everyone. And so sometimes we do group discussions, but it goes by so fast. I'll usually at the end of class go by and look for sure.
Okay, cool. All right. Thank you.
And then, yes, I mentioned whitelisting YouTube videos. So as a teacher, we can see all of YouTube. We have been given that permission. Students are locked down. So what we have to do as teachers is go through and look at videos that might have already been requested by another teacher before submitting that video. Because most of the time, somebody's already asked for that video if it's really popular, right? I posted a link to this website, this page on the CNI Online Learning Resources website. So you can come through and look and see which channels and which videos have already been requested. And you can pop out this spreadsheet. There's a little arrow right here. And take a look at the 2 tabs at the bottom to see which ones have been cleared for students to watch. So I do that Control F in the sheet. So I'm looking for the name of the video. There we go, it's loading. If you do not find the video that you'd like to release for students, you'll go back to the website and fill in all of the information in this Google form. And it has to be from youtube.com as opposed to utu.be. I want to say like youtube.be.
Delane, in this case, it's fine because it goes to the same video, no matter how I whitelist it. So it's fine. It's fine if they just get that short one. Sometimes though, when you push it out to students, sometimes that short one doesn't work. And if the short one doesn't work, then push out the long one.
I love it. So Sherry has been really good. I try to do this about 48 hours in advance, just in case. She's been amazing in releasing those. But definitely take a look a couple of days ahead, and no surprises about 20 minutes before class, because sometimes that doesn't work.
And you said this was in the CI. I remember you sent us the link to this site.
Yes.
And it's just, where I was trying to look for it.
So if you are on the main web page, you go to, for me it's more, and then technology,
okay,
and then YouTube.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yes. So I'm in here requesting videos all the time.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, because sometimes kids are blocked, correct? So if it's something we want to use, I remember I was told to do this a while ago, but I forgot where it was at. So thank you.
It has all been put together for us in one location, so it's been great.
Delane, I have a question. I'm not very good at this, so I'm still learning everything. But on slide 7, how do you make, when you do, like when you want to do this on your slides ahead of time and get it ready, how do you get the bit link to get the Google form for your kids to click on to answer that? Like, sorry, I'm a beginner. I can do Google Slides, but not all this technical stuff adding it.
No problem. So I create the Google form first.
Okay.
Let me open up, let's see. I'll show you the form and how I went through that process. Okay, so you could grab the link right away.
Okay.
So when I click on send, there is the link icon.
Okay.
And if you shorten it, it's a little bit easier for students to click on. It's not that really long link.
Okay.
What I did is, because I like to have things named, I copied it. And I'll show you how to just paste this into the slide deck without making a bit.ly link.
Okay. Okay.
I like to use shapes. It's just another personal preference. So I'm going to add a quick shape here. And you can paste that link that you previously copied from forms, and it turns itself into an automatic link. So you don't have to worry about making it clickable. It becomes clickable for you.
Okay, so once I do my Google form, do my little quiz or my little questions, then I just click on that send and copy it as a link?
Yes.
Okay, and then I can put it into the slides as a link, and when I'm in class, they just have to click on that link and it'll take them directly to the survey at that time.
Exactly. So if I were a student, I'd click on the link, and I have to click on it twice if it's a live slide deck, right? And it will take me to the version of the form where I can fill it out.
Okay, so instead of me having to post it to Google Classroom and do it that way, I can do it immediately in class.
Yes.
Yay! I'm so excited. Sorry.
No, I love it. It's those shortcuts that save us. If it saves me 2 minutes every day, do you know how much time I've gotten back in my world?
And there's a lot of times where I want them to do a Google form, but I don't know how to do it easily in class. Like, So, and we're in PE, so I'm like, I just have them go to Google Classroom and do it. But this way I can actually have them do it right when they're with me and make them do it at that time.
Right.
Okay.
And what are the settings for the Google form? Because anytime I do a Google form, unless I go into Collaboration and say anyone with this link can edit, they never can do the quiz. Am I doing it right, or am I supposed to do anything else?
It depends on the required sign-in. So, and if you're collecting email addresses, you might have default set in. So I'm on the editable side of the form that I was creating. Sorry,
Yeah.
I was clicking around. And when you look at settings, are you collecting email addresses or are you restricting your forms?
Okay, let me see.
No, I do. So I will tell you.
So you collect emails?
Yes. I skip the your name part and I just collect their email addresses.
Okay. So you want that clicked?
Yep, this is me for every form that I use with students. And if I only want them to do it once, I'm that box too.
Okay, and so, yeah, because when it's on restricted users in Clovis only, my kids can't do it. And I
I'm
don't know
wondering
why.
if they're not signed in or they have more than one account signed in on that browser. And so
Okay.
Google is looking at the wrong email address.
Yeah, it says restricted users in Clovis Unified. So do I have to have the collect email address or else the restrict to Clovis Unified won't work?
You don't have to collect the email address. That's just me not putting in the question for your name.
Okay.
So I know I'll get their name from their email address.
Yeah, I always have to go to add collaborators and make it open to anyone.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so they're able to change the questions in the background.
No, they haven't been able to. No one has. Maybe they don't know they can.
So I would, and
I'll
it's all
try it
students, it's
your
not just a
way.
couple of students?
Yeah, so it'll be all students unable to do it. So I always have to okay, before I post this, I'm going to add collaborators, anyone with this link. And it works. I get my responses and I'm all done. But unless I do that, no one can take the test. So I go right there, add collaborators.
Right.
And on the bottom right there, I change the link to anyone.
So that tells me that it's not recognizing their CUSD sign-in.
Okay. I mean, they're all logged in. They're all in the classroom. They're all doing all that. So I don't know. It's weird.
I have to get to Clever. So that's why it's.
Yeah. I only do Clever. So
strange. That's why I'm thinking they might have signed into a personal account on that same browser, but the entire class, that is a little strange.
Yeah, that's never happened, Nina, to me. We're on the same team.
Yeah, I do that to every Google form. I don't know why.
Strange. And I use the extension where I just add it to Classroom from Google Form that way.
Yes, my extension is not working, guys. I downloaded that Chrome extension for Classroom, push to, whatever, and it doesn't work. I don't know why.
Well, I heard they were getting rid of it, but they didn't get rid of it yet.
I know. What I heard. It's not working for me. Anyways,
that's weird.
But I'll try that other route and see if it works.
Oh, and everybody's providing really helpful hints in here. Like, is it on lock mode or?
Not on lock mode. I do make sure it's not on lock mode because some Chromebooks aren't able to do the lock mode. And I'm sharing the correct link because I just go share link because they all are able to do it after I share that. So I don't always collect email address. I just like their first and last name so I can get their grading that way. But
right. So
it's been a problem for me.
True. Yeah. So locked mode, and it might also just be a question of sitting down with Peggy and taking a look at what's going on. Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for helping us troubleshoot. You're amazing. Well, I'm realizing what time it is. I am absolutely here for you. You can find me in Outlook. I am Delane. There is potentially more than one Sherry, so make sure you're looking for Sherry Johnston if you'd like to email Sherry. And we are so happy to support you. Thank you for giving me some fantastic ideas to try out on Monday with my class. And I'm just so happy that you're here. And thank you so much for spending an afternoon together.